Welcome everyone. Today in this video we'll discuss about the formation of psychometric assessment. Exactly what is psychometric assessment and how does it benefit the community at large and people in particular. So agenda is something very simple. We will be talking about psychometric assessment. We'll discuss the different types of psychological tests are there. Remember, this is a very small videos for you to understand the assessment process, perhaps why use the psychological test, the reason behind the psychological test that we goes around, how to choose a particular test, your role in testing, benefits about testing, in testing, of testing, the advantages, disadvantages thereof, and the ethics thereby. Also, the last slide we wind it up with the certifying bodies. Every federal government has their own certified bodies which they acknowledge and actually accredit. So it is better that you get yourself accredited from a certified bodies or accredited bodies perhaps. So what are psychometric tests? Now remember, this is a test which measures your cognitive abilities, measures your mind, the thought process, and how we go about it. So it's a combination of two words called metric, which is measure, and psycho, that is of mind. So it's, if you want to have a literal translations into English, it will be mind measurements. Psychometric testing provides an objective summary of an individual abilities, behavioral style, and cultural fit. Is an excellent predictor of performances. If the individual didn't vary, the needs of psychometric would not have existed in the first place. So this is an acknowledged fact, and it is accredited in the federal government, and probably it's worldwide applicable. In fact, it's an established body of knowledge as far as science is concerned. Psychometric tests have proven beneficial in the long run. The types of psychological tests: one, that of aptitude; one, that of achievement. How much qualification have you gained? How much knowledge have you gained after the qualification? It's your intelligence test. Neuropsychological test will tell you about how emotionally impacted that you can go around it. People get impacted in various degrees due to the certain exposures of certain situation might be novel, might be different. Occupational test is the person has been working in a particular industry, particular segment, and how does it impact his or her behavior. Personality test is what type of person the a person is all about. Is it an extrovert, introvert, sensitive, or emotional? How does the people think, from the mind, from the brain, from the heart? Are they a sensing person or feeling person? We are talking about personality and specific clinical test. In cases of non-conformance, you need to go across with a specific clinical test as the case might be. We'll talk about the assessment of students, the psychological assessment conducted by school psychologists. How does it goes around? The evaluation may include cognitive assessment. The evaluation is all about understanding the development of mental age of the student, the access assess intellectual abilities. Then we talk about emotional and behavioral concern. Emotional behavior concerns are completely different. People get matured at different age. Probably the physical age is different, and emotional age of reactions or coming to an understanding of maturity is at a different age. People at some people get matured and have a broader base of understanding at the very tender age of 9, 10, 11, 12. And then there are people who even at the age of 31, 32, 33 years do not fully comprehend the situation, and probably their reactions are not very conducive. Adaptive functioning is self-help skills, as the case might be. How does it goes around it? Why use psychological tests? It is easier to get information from tests than by clinical interviews. The information from test is most scientifically consistent than the information from the clinical interviews, as the case might be. It's harder to get away with lying in a test than in a clinical interview. To help students maximize their education, make the right choice, make the right decision as far as career is concerned, you need to go for a psychological test and probably map your acumen to your aptitude, and then walk the talk. You will become much more successful. Probably you will be able to understand things in much better clarity, as the case might be. So how to choose a test? Now the question is how and what kind of test you should be going around. The overall problem with psychological test concerns there, ability to measure what they are supposed to measure. Now, that is what we need to understand. The reliability factor of the test is very, very important. The accuracy or usefulness of a test is known as its validity. The ability of a test to give consistent result is known as reliability. Note, without reliability, there is no validity. So it goes hands in hands as far as reliability and validity is concerned. You need to understand what kind of test you are undergoing. You need to figure out what does the outcome of the test has been designed for. Is that outcome which you want to measure? Is it what you're looking for it? Look for the reliability, look for the validity, and then only give it up. Undergo the test. So benefits are plentiful as far as psychological tests are concerned. You can assess potential academic interest, academic results based on your benefits, increase the success of your students. Probably every one of us will benefit in the long run. Improve engagement with the schools and motivation. Know your students better, enhance the quality of your students' destination, gain value, added support for your college, probably for your university, probably for your organizations, and the organization would be helped by screening candidates based on the psychological test, as the case might be. Merits helps draw with a comprehensive behavioral profile as the case outcomes around here. Gives deeper understanding of one's strength, the areas of development can be successfully utilized for career development. Now, these are the merit that we want to go around it. What are they? It gives a complete holistic profile, gives a deeper understanding of strengths, can be successful utilization for career development. Then what are the demerits that we can talk about it? The psychological test has its own limitation. Depending upon the type of assessment, results are open to interpretation. Absolutely, everybody will figure the result and matter it and apply it to their requirements rather than becoming very conclusive. Should never be a standalone technique, and or should always be used in a dynamic and probably a multiple reaffirmative test from different methodologies, not only single thing. We are talking about person merits and person demerits as the case might be. Ethics of psychometrics. How do we come across with it? Psychological tests are usually administered and perhaps interpreted by psychologists, a qualified person who have seen the things. They are not only qualified, they have been accredited and they are renowned in the field. A duly experienced person will be the right person to administer a psychological test and probably evaluate it and interpret it. The counselor who has an appropriate academic course, a supervision with an administrative achievement and aptitude test. You need to give the further elaborations of the test for the purpose of the test. Explain the rationale, the name of the test, maintain confidentiality and privacy. We are here to interpret and hand over a copy of the report to the test managers as on when on basis as we go around it. How does it help? What needs to be done and can be done with the passage of time. Make sure the environment is conducive. Make sure the person is in a comfortable zone. The person is calm who is taking the psychometric test for the appropriate requirements, for the appropriate outcomes. Make sure that the emotional state of the person undergoing the test is absolutely right. There is a neutral environment comes around it, and the behavioral outcomes and his or her responses are given under no form of stress. Ensure that the discussion follows the assessment. Immediately after the assessment has been done, a proper feedback has to be given, proper steps to be discussed, and what needs to be done and what can be catered to is what the ethics of psychometric is all about. It's not taking the test and coming to know about your result. Probably you can discuss it out, probably you can refine it out, probably you can understand the knowledge why a particular answers was or a particular assessment was skewed in a particular fashion, and how does it benefit, how does the person needs to be sensitized with the requirement, with the outcomes of the test per se. Yes, the certifying bodies, every federal government has their own certifying bodies. Code of Fair Testing Practices in Education, something which we go around it, CODE, is guide for professionals in fulfilling their obligations to provide and use this test in almost fair manner to every test taker. The American Psychology Association Level A, Level B are the two principal stage of training in certification system. APA Level A American Psychological Association level A and level B are two principal state in certification system of the psychometric test being given by the British Psychological Society as and when on basis. With this, we come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the very end.